I don't know. The only thing I do know is that we have to be kind. Please, be kind. Especially when we don't know what's going on.
You ready?
Rock and roll.
Hot dog fingers.
Hot dog fingers. Yeah, let me just use my toes right now. Give me 1 second.
Let me
There
put
we
my
go.
mouth.
Let me just lick your nose.
Welcome to our very special 2003 Best Picture Oscar episode of Season 4 of 3.5 Gentlemen, the podcast where 3 of the 4 hosts provide a refined and intellectual analysis of movies from our private collections, and one of us tries desperately to keep up. We'll let you decide which host is which, but for now, my name is Sean, and with me, as always, are my co-hosts, Jeremiah.
The only thing I do know is that we have to be kind, yo.
Eddie.
We're all just small and stupid.
And Brandon.
What up, yo? Because see, in another parallel universe, I'm Jeremiah, and Jeremiah's me, and
Oh, that was really good.
that's what I'm going for.
Man, I should have been like, or something like that.
I should have said hot dog fingers. That would have been funnier.
No, you should have done that.
With Season 4, we're picking movies that we just want to, that we think that will create some good conversations. Some of these will be from our private collections, while others will be maybe new releases in theaters and streaming. For today, we're looking at the newest Best Picture winner.
As with every review we give, our goal is to answer one simple question: how many drinks does it take to get through the film we just watched? At the end of the podcast, we'll rate the movie based on a scale of 0 to 5, 0 being a perfect film that you can watch stone cold sober, and 5 being the sort of the film that makes you want to intentionally give yourself paper cuts between each of your fingers.
Which
I read that wrong.
was literally one of the hardest things for me to watch.
You know, it's so funny. Out of all the things, I'm surprised that you chose this PG-13. I'm surprised you didn't go or get beaten down with rubber dicks on your face to death, or, you know, also do a front flip to get a fucking butt plug up your ass.
Did that not
I'm
make
surprised.
you think of Eddie at Halloween when they were having the dildo fight?
Oh, yes, with
it
the
did.
Big Bertha.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
Rock
for
out with
sure,
your cock out. Yep.
Oh, that's right.
With that, what movie do we have running on a parallel dimension toward us tonight, gentlemen?
Well, tonight we have the Daniels tripped out mindfuck of a movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once, which brought home 7 Oscars this year, including Best Picture, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actor, and Best Supporting Actress. Everything Everywhere All at Once tells the story of Evelyn Wong, a middle-aged Chinese immigrant who is swept up into an insane adventure in which she alone can save existence by exploring other universes and connecting with the lives she could have led in order to stop a version of her daughter. This movie has amazing stars, including Michelle Yeoh, Huy Quan, Stephanie Hsu, and Jamie Lee Curtis, which just seems so out of place, doesn't she? Everything Everywhere has an IMDb rating of 7.9 out of 10 and has a critic score of 94% and an audience score of 87% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
As with every movie review we try to pair it with a cocktail that we hope will reflect the film that we've chosen. So, Ed, why don't you take us through the cocktail that we've selected this evening?
Sorry, I was doing the whole finger thing that they were doing. You guys ever used to do that?
All the
This one?
time.
Where
Yes, dude. When we were 13 or 14 years old, that was the thing to do.
No,
like,
not
let's
that,
just,
Sean. You did
That
this,
one?
and you crossed it.
the
and-
flying V part.
Flying
yeah,
V
yeah.
part, yeah.
I missed that.
So tonight we're having a free for all. Tonight we're having a free for all. We can call it the everything in your cup all at once. And you take a good old suicide drink that you used to make when you were a kid, or if you like played King's Cup or something. Just throw everything in there, I'm guessing.
Oh, King's Cup was dangerous.
Yeah.
Fucking A, dude.
I will tell you, I actually did see a kid make a suicide the other day at the store, and all I could do is give him like a thumbs up, like, way to go, brother.
That's living your best life.
You Sprite. So
What's
a
a
suicide,
suicide?
is when you take a cup, fill it with ice at a restaurant, and then you put all the different sodas in it. And so he's just going down the line, just a little bit of soda from every single.
so this
tab.
is fucking King's Cup. So you're putting every single alcohol in this drink.
Exactly.
What type of alcohols are we gonna have in this drink?
You
Vodka?
tell me.
I was
You
gonna
tell
name
me.
You have to do tequila.
Whiskey?
You have to do whiskey, tequila, and
Oh,
vodka.
jeez.
Jesus
dead.
Christ.
So you don't have to
Rum.
do anything, by the way.
Yeah,
We are going to a multiverse right now.
At least
Great.
the 4 horsemen. I would say at least the 4 horsemen. Okay.
The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you do
that's-
Jose.
It's,
It's
Jack, Jim, Jose,
and Johnny
And Goose.
and Goose.
So in honor
this
of the
one.
title and the batshit craziness of a million things happening, literally, I can't say that word, at the same time, grab as many different types of alcohol you want and as many mixers as you want and put them in a cup and stir around and throw some ice in there and good luck. And hopefully, let's see who can make it through the night.
Hell yeah.
Fuck.
All right, let's get into the movie and let's get into some of the wonderful performances. And I'll kind of start with
Okay,
kind of how I felt going into the movie. I was not excited for this movie. I thought it was going to be dull. I thought it was going to be overblown. It was just everybody was kind of revving it up. I heard an early review on it that everyone should see this movie, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. I saw the trailer. It looked like overstimulated and one of those kind of crazy movies, and I was like, yeah. And then I saw it, and it was kind of absolutely the opposite of all of that. So I was really excited. Once I actually sat down and got to watch it, I was very pleasantly surprised.
My question to you is: has anybody seen Swiss Army Man, which is the Daniels' other major movie? Okay, so I'm just going to tell you right now, recommend the shit out of the movie. I remember Amanda and I went and saw that when I think we were still dating. And I remember bringing her to this like weird, tripped out, mindfuck, trippy art house movie in which Daniel Radcliffe plays a dead guy that Paul Dano finds washed up on the shore, that he's like on this lone island. And Daniel Radcliffe as like this Weekend at Bernie's guy is a Swiss Army knife. That's really
That
the whole
sounds fucking
purpose.
amazing.
And
Brandon, the movie
fucking
was in
great.
2016.
Oh, so yeah, we'd been married for a while. Damn it. Sorry, Amanda.
And you had children.
We did.
The multiverse.
Yeah, the multiverse.
Yeah, in the multiverse, it came out like 2009. Anyway, let me just put it out
time
there.
limit there.
Yeah, fuck yeah, I tell you. Anyway, that movie is amazing, and I'm going to tell you right now, that movie to me beats the shit out of Everything Everywhere All at Once. I'm not a huge fan of this movie. I appreciate it more than I like it, if that makes sense. But I do want to kind of put it out there. Record it, send it out to the world. Watch Swiss Army Man, especially if you liked Everything Everywhere. Swiss Army Man is to me far superior to this one.
What about you, Jeremiah?
I think what this film is that it has that kind of the indie success story, right? We've only seen it a few times with like cinema history that's become like part of pulp culture. We've seen it with Pulp Fiction. We've seen it in Trainspotting, even Mamma Mia and shit like that, you know? And it's just one of those movies that got really popular. Like, you know, like the first week when it was opening in 10 theaters, right? And then the buzz started happening. And then you hear people talking about it and wanting to go to the movie theaters. And it just kind of built from that, you know? I mean, there was a big buzz this time last year when it came out. What do you think, Eddie? Yeah.
So I never watched this movie, and I had to download Showtime, and I'm still on the 7-day free trial. So
You and I both.
yeah,
Make sure you cancel
Us three. All the gentlemen are. I gotta fucking remember to cancel. I gotta
I have to cancel that. Remember that. So
Oh, by the way, Showtime, we'll take we'll be sponsored by Showtime if anytime, they want to come up to
We'll
us.
do it.
go download Showtime. Yes. So, but I was actually excited to finally get to watch this because with so many awards that this movie won and all the stories I heard about this movie, I was like very, very intrigued with this movie. I did not expect it, for me personally, to be like Scott Pilgrim versus the World. That's how I took this movie as. Like it's just a very
Like a Pixar movie.
It's like a very it's going at you, and it just so many different stories within one, and then the whole multiverse was just doesn't slow down. And so if you seriously look down and you get yourself a sip of drink, you look back up like, wait, did we skip universes? What the fuck happened? Like I didn't care for it at first, if that made sense. I felt like it was going too fast. I had no idea what the hell was going on, and then I caught on after the movie started going.
But did you guys expect that some type of a multiverse type of a film? Like I didn't expect that.
I had heard that. I had heard that they did it better than Doctor Strange. Multiverse Madness better than Loki.
Which I'd agree
that this was actually going to create some sort of a blueprint that Marvel should have used. Right? It was very emotional. It was very to me. It fired on all cylinders once. they got past the initial IRS audit. To me, for me personally, I was intrigued with the way that they lived. Like, it was this little tiny apartment that was stuffed full of shit, and they ran the laundromat, and you have kind of this image of the American dream not necessarily like perfectly realized, and nothing about their lives are okay. And so I couldn't help but kind of watch this movie and be a little depressed. And then they go to the audit, and you've got Jamie Lee Curtis there, who I would agree with you at that moment felt out of place. Brandon, she felt out of place then. But then all of a sudden, the movie like flips a switch, literally, and the acting gets better, the drama gets better, and it just escalates and escalates and escalates.
Two things. First off, I'm watching it, and about a quarter of the way through the movie, I turned to Amanda and I was like, this has to win for editing. I've never seen a better edited film.
I've never seen anything.
Because I would love to have somebody, and I know it's probably out there if we just Google it, I would love to know how many individual cuts and edits happen in this movie, because my guess is it's got to be one of the most edited films, and the way that it's edited is brilliant. I think that on a cinematographic level, my God, the editing is amazing. But what I wanted to kind of ask, and this is kind of bouncing off of Jeremiah, I think what you were saying, is I watched this the week right before the Oscars, because I try to watch all the Best Picture nominees, you know, in the week or two before. So I had already heard about kind of the buzz of it's a parallel, you know, dimension movie. So I'd already kind of known what it was about. Now, when did you guys see it? I know, Ed, you just saw it last night. So you
2 nights ago.
2 nights ago. So you already kind of had an idea of what it was from kind of, you know, word of mouth. But Jeremiah and Sean, when did you guys see it? And what were your, I guess, were you surprised because you hadn't heard enough about or much about it, or had you already heard a lot about it?
Well, last year it was the movie that you always heard, that and Top Gun, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, Top Gun was the big budget movie, and this was the indie favorite here. And then I remember seeing it maybe about 3 months ago with Hannah, and I remember just like looking at her, I'm like, this movie is so fucking crazy. I don't think I've ever seen something like this. In like, I had never seen it in a visual way or in an edited way, where it's just like, I felt like, okay, who are these people? How long have they been doing this? And then you find out that the people who did the visual effects didn't even go to film school.
They didn't even go to VFX school.
What?
It's like did nothing. It was my 9 friends who said, let's go fuck around and do some special effects.
That's what's so crazy about that, dude. The editor, this was his second film.
Yeah.
So I'm just like thinking to myself, like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I mean, are these the next filmmakers? This is what the next film is going to be happening now?
This was so exciting, Jeremiah, is that you're witnessing the birth of a new way to film, a new way to edit, a new way. Like just as they did when they reinvented the world with Star Wars, and they reinvented the world with Godfather, and they reinvented the world with Lawrence of Arabia. Nobody had ever seen it like that before because it was so fucking huge. And this was like, how many cuts can we make without, first of all, making it distracting at all? It was not distracting. I thought it played into the story beautifully. And it really helped, to me, it helped shape characters that were a little undefined, because if I have a criticism of the movie, is that you didn't really get a depth of character on the daughter. You didn't really get a depth of character on
the daughter,
the grandfather.
Yes. Yeah.
But what I did, and with that point though, Brandon, what it did is it gave you, and it was like, I want to say it was 20 minutes into the movie where she sees her entire life flash before her eyes
in the elevator.
Oh, God,
and it was
so
such
sad.
a fucking, it was not sad. It was, and I agree that parts were sad, but it was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was gorgeous because you saw the good, the bad, you saw them happy, and then you saw them not happy. You saw
then
them
you saw the regret.
with, just the whole life. And it was, I came out of this movie kind of going, this basically was It's a Wonderful Life. And they completely upended the structure and said, we're going to add, a little bit of sci-fi, a little bit of Matrix, a little bit of kung fu, a little bit of just kind of fuckery in it, and make it fun and light. But then we're going to hit you with emotional moments that really, they don't just punch you, they fucking like hit you in the throat and make you think about them.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jeremiah, sorry.
That's the thing about this movie, man. It's like it has so much genre, right? You have horror, you have comedy, you have drama, you have action. I mean, you have all these like genres here, and it's all like placed together perfectly. For me, I thought it was. The most of that we were focusing on is the core of the characters. I think this one captured the whole multiverse atmosphere than any of the 10 MCU films the past like 2 years have been trying to do. Maybe Spider-Man, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
So I have a question. So you obviously Evelyn is in a tricky situation with the receipts and the IRS. Do you think who's the purpose of that? Is that because of her, or is that because of her husband? Or I was just wondering, just like because of obviously she's a singer and she has all these little tiny receipts that she's trying to write off. I was just wondering, does she not liking her life because of the bad mistakes she's done, the main life, the one that she's in? Like,
Right.
is there situations that she put herself in there, or she's not capturing the moment that, or she just going through the motions? Sean,
If you look at her, I call her a proper timeline, right? So she has created branch after branch after branch on other timelines and other multiverses based on trying to repair the decisions that she's made. And she tries to repair them by reinventing what she does, but she never follows through. She's in search of happiness. She's in search of
Yes.
trying to change her life in the present on that prime universe, to try and fix decisions that she's made by reinventing herself into a singer, or reinventing herself into, there was other things I can't remember, but there was like 10 businesses, right, that she had started within her lifespan. And that's kind of an interesting way to frame this It's a Wonderful Life story, where she doesn't necessarily get to go back to the prime because she has knowledge of all this other things. She gets to go back to the prime by choice with the knowledge, and she gets to fix the prime. And that kind of is an interesting little dichotomy there. She gets to fix her life and understand what's going on in the regular, in the multiverse.
I thought it was really interesting to see how impactful parents can be and how history can repeat itself in a way, especially just between a father and a daughter, or a daughter and a mother. I mean, just the tone of your voice, the expression of your face or your body language. I mean, it's literally pushing each other away, I mean, and Brandon and I were just joking before we got on the mic, it's like, it's totally like Cats in the Cradle in the Silver Spoon type of shit right here, I mean, it's like literally like that fucking like setting between the parents, between the whole family right here, you know what I'm saying?
it also trickles down. I mean, like it came down from, we talked about the daughter, and then obviously it trickles down from her life from when she was a child, right? And then her decisions that she already knew from the very beginning, of memories of her and her dad, that she wasn't, like, it was very hard and difficult growing up with her and her dad. So it's just like, you see, like, this, the parenting and child, what Jeremiah was saying is, it was pretty cool to see that, just in our own daily lives. I know Brandon and myself, we see little things as like it carries on with our parenting style. And then we're trying to, I don't know, for me, I'm trying to use the same skills, but I'm trying to update it. And then I see little things like, why am I acting this way? It's like, oh yeah, it's because of the way I was raised, maybe. Brandon.
No, so I mean, it goes back to that like stupid Dr. Phil kind of methodology or mentality, where it's like, hurt people. And I was thinking about that when I'm watching this movie, is that it's really about how we have to be able to fix ourselves before we can try to help the people around us. Because if we aren't able to fix ourselves, then we're only going to continue to hurt those people that we care about. And I think that was the interesting thing that I didn't see going into the movie until about 3/4 of the way through.
Yep.
Like, you got the angry grandpa character, and then it comes full circle. And you have that flashback moment. I'm trying to remember exactly where it was, but where we see what he said to her in the past, right? The grandpa, or the dad, to Michelle Yeoh. And when she stands up to him, right, there's that, oh yeah, good, stand up to him. But at the same time, in standing up to him, she kind of set herself on a new path of self-destruction. And I can't help but sympathize with that, empathize with that. Yeah. And also feel it on a personal level. Like, I've never had that same exact moment, but I mean, for me, I have so many damn regrets, and I have so many damn things in my life that I wish I had tried or done or not done. And I know that I'm not the only person with that. Yeah. So it was neat, but also kind of like Jeremiah, what you're saying, it was a gut punch to see it on screen and to say, those what if moments that you constantly are living by, well, it's not hurting you anymore. It's hurting the people around you, and maybe you should shut the fuck up and focus on the life that you have. I'm going to just throw one last thing. But Kazuo Ishiguro is one of my favorite authors, and he's a fantastic writer who won the Nobel Prize. But he has a quote, and I think I remember it every day, and it's, I could be living another life, but I'm living this one. And to me, that was such a key kind of component to this movie, is that, yeah, we could be living these other weird, maybe even more exciting lives, but that's not the life that we're actually living. We're living this one. So why not make the best of this? And that's my little rant. But Jeremiah.
I mean, honestly, when you were watching this film, I mean, didn't you just think like everyone in life needs someone like Raymond?
Yeah.
Because he is the heartbeat of this fucking movie, dude. I mean, he doesn't get wrapped up in the forbidden treasure of the world. His world is his love of his family. And I just fucking love this character. This is probably one of my favorite characters I've seen in a very long time. And, you know, he's like that in every multiverse. The love of his family, the love that he's the rock of everything, you know? Yeah. And you got to give shout outs to Quan. I mean, like, the greatest comeback, do you think? I mean, what do you think, man? I mean,
him and Brendan Fraser.
I would say that, okay, but I would set Brendan Fraser apart from this performance, because Kiwan, if you listen to the interviews.
Sorry, it was Kiwi. Sorry, Kiwi Quan. If
you listen to the interviews, I mean, he was so terrified when he went and actually acted for the first time in this movie. He turned to Michelle Yeoh and said, "Was that okay?" Uh-huh. And Michelle Yeoh says, "What are you talking about?" And he goes, "I haven't done this in 20 years." And she goes, "What?" like. So, I mean, I would say the story and Jeremiah, this is the greatest comeback in cinematic history, especially from someone who was a beloved child actor who disappeared, who came back and has been waiting for this role, and his wife has told him for 20 fucking years, it's gonna come. It's gonna
That's
come.
So fucking amazing right there, man.
And then all of a sudden it comes, and not only does it come, but he takes advantage of it. This acting that he's done in this movie makes me want to see him over and over and over again. Yeah. It makes me want to see him.
I can't wait to see other films. Yeah.
It's almost like when I saw Christoph Waltz for the first time, it's like, I can't get enough. Bring him, give me more Christoph Waltz. And I will say that to your point, Brandon, my favorite part about his character development was that it was the slowest of all the characters. And it actually wasn't until the last 10 minutes of the movie that you truly got his full circle. And it didn't come from Alphaverse or all these different verses. It came from the key, the what's his name, Raymond? The main Raymond, prime person. Mm-hmm. Be fucking kind. Like, that's all he wants. He turns to Michelle Yeoh and says, be kind. It wasn't as a person like in the great universe. It was, be kind to me. Be kind to your daughter. Be kind to your father. Just be kind. And she had become so hardened by failure and by perceived failure and by the fact that she didn't get to quote unquote follow the dreams that she thought she deserved, that she got wrapped up in all of that and became so hard, and all he wanted to do was to soften her and to be who she was. Yeah.
Why? I love that, Sean. Why do you think he always put eyeballs on everything?
I think it's this idea. I'm going to take it. So I think metaphorically, it's this idea of seeing, and she has her eyes closed to the world around her, and it's this idea of you need to be able to see the world around you. I mean, when she puts that third eye right on her forehead, she's finally got that understanding, that vision of the world around her, and of her place within the world. So I think to me, it's kind of almost a little too spot on metaphorically, or metaphoric-y, I guess. But I don't think I really caught on to that until right now when just thinking about it.
Yeah, Jeremy, I have something to say about that, but Jeremy or Sean.
I always thought it was like a metaphor of like the yin and the yang type of thing. Like, her daughter Joy is getting sucked into this black hole, the bagel, where there's this round thing and this eye here actually represented and something like that. So I actually thought that was something like a metaphor, something like that,
Yeah.
See, I thought he was trying to bring back whimsy. If you look at there's a couple of scenes where you see like their life together, and the way it's shot is some of the scenes where he's chasing the daughter around the
laundromat.
The laundromat, you get a negative connotation. God, they're still at the laundromat. My God, all they do is at their laundromat. But he's making the best out of every moment that they're together and trying to be a constant source of light. And I think that what he's doing by putting in the eyeballs, and maybe I'm missing the eyeball metaphor, but I think he's trying to make things a little bit more funny, a little bit less serious, a little bit, oh yeah, there's a broken machine. Haha, we're going to get it fixed. Like, don't worry, use another one. And she's ripping shoes out and saying, if it broke, you're fixing it. You're paying for it.
Yeah.
And,
so,
it's just, Go ahead, Ed. I'm sorry.
No, that's perfect. I love all those. So the way I looked at it was because, all the way down to his divorce papers, she wouldn't even spend a moment looking at him. To give her some time. So I feel like he was so just wanting attention. So he put eyeballs around personally because he wanted someone to look at him. He wanted someone to get attention. Like so that's how I took it as he was almost depressed with she doesn't see me and he wants someone to see me for all what I'm doing in this running the laundromat pretty much day to day.
Nice.
Yeah.
Seriously, like that part right there when he hands the divorce paper, and it broke my heart because he wasn't trying to divorce her.
No,
he was just trying to have a moment with her to just talk, and just
trying to wake her up, right?
Wake her up, and when she signs the paper, you literally see him get destroyed by it, man. And I'll tell you this much: I fucking teared up when I was watching this scene. It was when she finally touches his hand, and you see all these flashbacks, and it goes into the verse where she's like very successful as a movie star, and he's like out there, and he just literally says like, in another life, the universe, I would have been happy just to do laundry and taxes,
That was
and
the
just
best line in the movie.
Yes, it was.
Oh my God, dude.
But that was the best scene in the movie. That was the
God.
best scene in the movie. And that is, to me, like when you look back at the movie, you go, okay,
fucking got chills right now.
What did you draw from the movie? What message did you draw? And the message is that, no, I'm just saying, yes, I would like to know what message you drew. But the message to me is that I would have in another universe, I would have been just as happy, just as fulfilled, just as honored to do laundry and taxes with you and be in that universe because I'm with you, the real you, than any other place. And I think that it's we've said this before, is finding beauty in the mundane, finding beauty in the routine, finding beauty and pleasure from the everyday moments of life. You can go to Bora Bora, you can go on a house overlooking the ocean and see the sharks and the fish and the blah blah blah. That's not real life.
Mm-hmm.
Life is when you come back and your child snuggles in on a Sunday morning and you guys stay in bed and watch cartoons. Like that's real life. Those are the moments you hang on to. And I feel like that was the message of the movie, is that I would rather do laundry and taxes, which tax is the worst thing in the world. Fuck. And just so I can be with you, just so I can continue, being with you rather than being alone and famous. Yeah. Go ahead, Jeremiah. Sorry.
No. I think this movie has a really interesting take of like the whole meaning of life. The importance of like family being the center of it. I love how it actually begins in the movie where you actually just see the center of the family, like a picture, right? And then it just breaks away and it just goes into like this whole kind of abyss, like what's happening. And I think it's really important, man. I think it says like a lot where you're searching for that life that you always wish for, but yet the life has always been there right in front of you, Mm-hmm. And I think it speaks a lot of volume for so many people that just don't fucking understand that, man.
Yeah. So I want to kind of move us into kind of the driving purpose of the movie, right? Which is the daughter feeling unhappy and unfulfilled with her relationship with her mom, and leading to this bagel, which to me was, I don't know, that was too much whimsy and too much eye rollingness for me.
I thought it was. Sorry.
Go for it.
Ahead.
I just want to talk about. I just kind of want to talk about anything and everything about everything and everything about that character, that relation, that dynamic, and then let's talk about the bagel too.
I want to talk about the bagel because the bagel to me was the center point of the story, and it was a millennial to me. This is what I got from it: is that you had a couple of themes. So you've got generational, you've got cultural, and kind of a spiritual transformation between the generations. So you've got this idea that work, family, everything is important. We're going to fight hard at the laundromat. We're going to make our family work. And then you've got kind of the next generation who's watched their parents struggle and struggle and struggle and struggle. And now everything means nothing because all the effort is worthless. It's all just a big, it's everything bagel. It's got everything on it. If it's got everything on it, then what's special about it? It's got fucking everything. It's like that beautiful line from Incredibles. If you say everyone's super, then no one is.
I like everything bagels.
Sean, you made a good point right there as well, man. Like, the bagel is the black hole. It's nothing, right? It's like the nothing from the never-ending story when you think about it, dude. It represents everything. It's a metaphor for all that type of shit right there. And I think that the bagel was interesting. Don't get me wrong. There's some scenes in this movie where you're just like, fuck, you're going way above where you can't fucking return this shit. You know what I'm saying?
The hot dog fingers?
Oh, dude, I'm talking about everything. Okay. I'm talking about like,
I'm sorry, but the hot dog fingers delivered one of the most.
Yes.
I was like, what the fuck? And then it delivered one of the most poignant moments of the goddamn movie, which is playing Claire de Lune with her toes. I'm telling you right now, I don't know how the Daniels do it, but they take the ridiculous and they make it poignant.
Please, Sean, watch Swiss Army Man. Please watch that movie.
I will.
So Jamie Lee Curtis, right? Like, I didn't know how much of a part. So I know she won. So I didn't know how much of a part she was going to have in this. And then just to see the original timeline of what happened to her, so it's just like she's in all these other different universes. She's an enemy or she's a lover. It's just like but she's always somewhat close to this family still. Yeah. So it's interesting how much she plays a part in their lives, and just her character, just her acting has been spot on this whole movie. I just loved her so much in this movie. Also on top of Raymond.
Dude, she's the scream queen, man. It's pretty awesome that she won.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to be honest. I was not as taken by her as I was by the other actors and actresses in this film. I like Jamie Lee Curtis, but she's by no means a favorite. Now, I haven't seen Wakanda Forever, and I know that the whole thing was that Angela Bassett should have won. I'm assuming you guys have seen Wakanda Forever. Was she good?
I haven't.
Oh, you haven't?
I haven't seen it.
Oh.
I've seen it. She was pretty much like the fucking rock of that fucking film, man. She fucking killed.
Do you think that
film.
Bassett should have won?
I actually thought the other actress should have won. Stephanie, the daughter, Stephanie.
Yeah.
I thought she I thought she carried the film. Yeah, Joy.
I thought she was great. So, okay, that's so funny because you say that. Sorry to cut you off, but I thought three people carried the movie and stole the show in the three different periods of time. I think that in the beginning, Huy
Quan.
Yeah. I thought he stole the fucking movie. The moment that he came on screen as like the secret agent kind of guy, and the fight with the fanny pack, that whole shit was like, I was like, oh my God, you just stole the whole movie. Like, why? Like, keep going. I want to watch it. But then Michelle Yeoh came in with a vengeance in the middle, and he kind of faded a little bit off to it. Not poorly, just kind of like wasn't part of the
spotlight wasn't on him.
Character. Right. And then all of a sudden, in the last act of the movie, you had the daughter really come through.
Fuck.
When she's when they're in the apartment together at the end, and she tells her mom to sit on the crack of the couch, like that whole nonchalance in the way she approached the quote unquote villain of the character was so beautiful to me because she wasn't really the villain necessarily.
That's the thing, yeah.
Yeah, and I wonder how old the writers and Daniels are, because this has always been kind of my opinion. Our generation specifically, if you're in your 30s, you watch your parents work their entire lives for companies and all throughout the world, throughout the country, and they worked their asses off, and they did put in their 20, and right before they were about to retire, 2008 happened, or 10 years before they were supposed to retire, 2008 happened, and it basically destroyed everything. Companies had no loyalty. They threw everyone overboard. Everyone lost their health insurance. Everyone lost everything. So us as a generation, we're like, okay, so why are we devoting our entire lives to these jobs that are going to fuck us in 30 years? Like that's the reality. And a lot of the older generations take it or perceive it as we don't want to work. That's not necessarily true. We want to work on our terms, which is selfish. I get that. But at the same time, it's because we've watched our parents get screwed. We don't want to get screwed. Anyway, so I kind of got this idea that she's not the villain. She's looking for a reason to put forth the effort it takes to live. And that's kind of what I got from it.
No, I think that you're 100% right. And by the way, I'm just going to aside, this is the most philosophically deep 3.5 Gentlemen I think we've ever had, and I think it's fucking amazing. I feel honored to be in your presence right now, everybody. But no, I love that, and I want to actually, Sean, I want to extend it even further. I think that you're right. She's got this disillusionment with society, with her place, her quote unquote expected place in the world as an individual in that coming of age time that she is, or age that she is. And that kind of ties into what I'm saying, which is this disillusionment with this concept of family. And I think that that's something that's so interesting, because you've got the dad, right? You've got Raymond, who wants so desperately to hold on to family. And then you've got the mom who wants, I don't want to say so desperately to escape from it, but she wants that escape into her would-be lives or her would-be past, right? And so she's just kind of this little individual in the middle who doesn't really know what family is. And I think that dynamic and that tension, along with the bigger, the umbrella tension maybe of society, I see what you're saying as far as I never once thought that she was the villain, but I think that she is, she's the antagonist who perpetuates the story, if that makes sense. So I love what you're saying, John.
No, I love what you guys have both said. Like, even Jeremiah, like, I don't see her as a villain at all. Like, she was pretty much telling her mom, none of that matters, what you've done. Like, all of that, like, I see the true you, mom. And so I think everyone, the whole family, they all needed to open their eyes. But I mean, her character was, I think her character at the very end just made me enjoy the movie so much. It just made me realize when she finally was opening up to why she's so pissed off, and, hey, I don't want to kill you, mom. I just want you to sit here with me almost. I like the whole rock conversation. I enjoyed it so much. That
conversation was fucking great. I was literally like thinking to myself, are the directors fucking with us? Are they flexing right now? Because I am fucking wrapped up in this story, and I'm watching two rocks just looking out in the horizon.
Yeah, and then
that part of the story worked.
It worked so well, because originally the daughter's just like, just sit here and enjoy this, mom. And then all of a sudden you see her start trying to move closer, and then the other rock's like, what the hell are you doing? Like, get away from me. Like, and then I loved it.
It falls off the edge of the fucking mountain,
and then she followed her down. It was just...
Oh man! So that was like beautiful. A breaking the fourth wall moment for me, because all I can think of as I'm watching this conversation is I'm just imagining the cameraman or camera person just holding on a rock, and then over here and holding on this rock, and then holding on the two frame of the rock.
I'm looking at Hannah. I'm like, we're watching fucking rocks. What the fuck are we doing?
But look at also how they handled that, right? The rocks were different colors, and the text was different colors.
Yeah,
there was no indication of which one was the daughter, which was the mother. It was beautiful.
Yeah,
it was beautiful. I will say that I'm gonna go jump back a little bit to the beginning and then jump to the end, because Raymond, when they got to the IRS building, he looks over and he sees this older couple kiss.
Oh, fuck.
And you see his face, and it's kind of, I don't want to call it heartbroken, but there's definitely there's this lingering pain. Like, there's a knife in his heart, and it just goes a little bit deeper. Like, not quite, but just a little bit. Like, just a little bit. Toward the end of the movie, when he's talking about kindness, and she pulls the shard of glass out of him, I felt like that she was removing almost like the inflicting pain that she had.
I never thought about that. Good point, Sean.
And then all of a sudden he emerges as a, and that's when we actually dive into that speech. I think is where we dive into the speech where he's in that different universe where he's the suave, she's the movie star, and he says, I bet you thought I was too weak to be, or your dad thought I was too weak to be your husband.
Yeah.
And he says, it wasn't my weakness, it was my strength. That was, he was wrong, basically. It was his stand-up moment to describe his character, and that, he derived his strength through his kindness, through his love, not by being an asshole, basically.
And you see Evelyn's, or Michelle's character using that. I'm going to fight just like you now. I'm going to use that way going forward to save our family and our daughter.
And the world, I mean, the world's a better place. He says it right there. The world would be a better place if we're all so confused. Everyone's fighting everyone. We can't even like agree on anything anymore.
God, that speaks like so volume to this world, dude. I was just like, fuck, dude.
Just be fucking kind. And I mean, I'm guilty of it. I catch myself just angry all the time.
Yeah.
At nothing. At nothing. Go ahead. Sorry.
I want to give a second on this guy here. This guy is like a legend to me, man. James Hong, the grandfather. Yeah, the grandfather. He's been in so many fucking movies that I've fucking watched throughout my childhood, and I just look at his credentials. 650 TV film credits, man.
Jesus.
This guy is 91, dude. This guy, and I'm so glad he's getting the recognition. Like, he got his Walk of Fame star.
No, he's one of those.
I didn't know
guys,
he was still alive.
Yeah, he's one of those guys where I see him and I'm like, oh, he's in it, right? And he's what I think of him and actors
he's
like
a great
him, he's
character actor.
Yeah, exactly. He's a perfect secondary actor. And that's not to belittle him, but it's to say that he assumes whatever role he's taking perfectly. And I think that he was fantastic in this, not in a standout showy way, but at the same time, what is it when he starts to basically, I guess, talk more, and they're in that that room, that closed off room, and all of a sudden he starts to kind of it works so well with his character, I thought.
And when he delivers a line, "You've got to kill her," and Michelle Yeoh says, "She's my granddaughter," or "She's my daughter," and he says, she's my granddaughter. How do you think I feel? Like, that whole exchange was so beautiful. Like, you felt it. I will say this: to be an Asian actor in Hollywood for the last 20 years has to have been difficult, because you're so typecast as the Asian villain, which he's played a billion times, the triad, it's just so sad that they don't get the roles, the generic roles that they should. And that's not, I'm not pandering. That's something that is sad, because I would have loved to see more of him in the way that you've seen so many other great aging actors, the Ed Asners of the world, and just that whole generation is almost gone. And I would have, you say 600 and something credits. A lot of that is hidden, right? A lot of that is he's not getting the recognition that he deserves. That's all I'm saying.
So I mean, does anyone else see, like, for me, when I saw him come out of the laundromat, when the first time you see him, I instantly thought about my grandma, Jeremy and our grandma, of like how our mom, old school, and like our mom took care of our grandma to the very last minute of her life, my grandma's life, and almost also like hid her away at times because she was embarrassed of her, because at the very end it's like she couldn't control a lot of her, her actions. But at the same time, I just saw this character, he played so well of like that older grandparent that like at the tail end of their life, that like they, they're very outspoken and old school tradition, and almost didn't even want to introduce Becky as just a friend, right? Michelle Yeoh's daughter. It was just very like spot on with how a grandparent usually
and he's
acts,
holding on. He's holding on to that older generation, and I know that we throw that term around here,
and culture,
absolutely. But there's truth to it, Ed. Just like you said, we may not all have that grandparent, but we all have that older person in our life at some stage who can't see, the newer generation. They can't accept the cell phones, can't accept social media, whatever it is, right? They fight tooth and nail against it, but the reality is you got to just kind of embrace it, because that's the reality of the world. And I think that that's what his character represented.
After a while, she, Michelle Yeoh, she said, forget it. Like, I'm going to tell my dad this is her girlfriend, Becky. And then his reaction wasn't anything like what Evelyn was about to do. Is just like, oh, okay. Like, so it was kind of like cool to see that, of like, sometimes we think the reaction is going to be different, and then the reaction is actually completely opposite of what we were expecting. Jeremy.
It's almost like you're telling yourself, like, I forgive you, but I also forgive myself too at the same time, for actually letting this, like, take a hold of me and actually passing to my daughter here, kind of walk away from that. I guess you could say trauma in a way, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it just has that, opportunity where you can just make amends of it,
Part of the generational thing too, I agree with, is they get discounted. So like because they are not keeping up with the normal flow of society, their opinions matter less, or their experience matters less. And I think it's very easy to discount that generation. And it's very nice when you see a little bit of respect toward it, which I think that you kind of got in this movie.
Yeah, in the
You got a little bit of respect, especially when they made him a pretty predominant character in the middle of the movie, hunting down or protecting, whatever you want to call it. I mean, he was basically the leader. So one of the last things I kind of I know we're running short on time, but one of the last things I kind of wanted to touch on was the costumes and the color of the movie. I found that for some reason, the costumes of the daughter and the costumes of everyone except for Michelle Yeoh's normal boring, which was wonderful in and of itself because it was very boring and very, like I'm going to go do my taxes.
And Jamie Curtis, yeah.
But the costumes and the colors, they were so beautiful. And I don't know if that is a cinematic choice or a cultural choice. I don't know what it is, but it was so refreshing. It was so refreshing to see all these colors on screen. I don't know. Maybe I was the only one who felt that.
No, it felt like you're watching something different.
No, I mean, you guys. So when you saw Michelle Yeoh's face, when it was like going back, like it's just you see her face, and it kept like changing. Did you guys pause it at all at any time?
Those 3 seconds or whatever, whatever that segment was, 5 seconds, won the editing Oscar right there. I mean, that right there, the way that they match cut was, I mean, that's film school. Watch that if you want to be an editor. Just watch that 5 seconds over and over, and watch the way that it's framed. Watch the way, cinematographically, right, with the lighting. I mean, it was brilliant. So, Jeremiah, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go for it.
No, just to add on top of that, man, seriously, when your editor can use itself as a character in the film, that speaks fucking volume, dude. I mean, that's just like, I was just watching. I was like, I can't believe this. Who is this fucking genius behind the fucking editing room? Yeah. What the fuck?
Oh, by the way, it's his second movie.
Yeah. But no, Sean, I think that
pretty small right now. Yeah. Pretty small.
And I would add costume. I mean, I think the costume that probably comes to most people's mind is the version of their life, I guess, where the bagel exists, right? And she's built a bagel, and the daughter's got the bagel in her head, and it looks like
the daughter, the green outfit, there was like 10 or 12 outfits that were almost anime that really popped for me, and
with the makeup and everything too.
It was just beautiful. And I don't know, to me there was some elements of the movie that were so fresh and so different, and made you more interested in a movie than I think it would have garnered otherwise. Let's put it that way. Because if you would have said to me, all these actors are in this movie, watch this show, I'd be like, yeah, okay, whatever. Kind of like what I was. And then all of a sudden, boom, I'm just in it. And, so glad I was.
And that brings us to the inner review. Now it's time of the podcast where each of the hosts provides a score on the following scale. Hot dog fingers.
Thank you.
Ready?
Yes, I am. I was to say, who wants to go first in this multiverse? 0, the perfect movie. You don't need shit to enjoy it. A feel-good first cocktail. 2, a happy buzz. 3, you're going to Uber or Lyft home. 4, rough morning watch of shame. 5, blackout, shit-faced spring break drunk. Gentlemen, I'll go first. I'll try to be short too, short and quick. Yeah. Nice. So this movie was nothing what I was expecting, and it was everything more. Everything, it hit every avenue that I was expecting more than I was. It's weird. Like, so in another universe, definitely would have saw this movie in the movie theaters. I'm happy how I saw it now. So I ultimately, this has so many different meanings of this movie. It helps me find peace in the weird way of my own life. It makes me I'm looking right now at my table when we're talking about all these little moments of this movie. Everything is kind of like connected in a weird way. I have a table here that's been with my whole marriage. And I look at my family. I remember the first time my oldest son, Noah, when I first got this table, he messed it up. And I was so mad originally at the point because I think he had paint on it and he had a pen on it. And I was so mad. And I look at it now and I smile at the table with the same area that he messed up. And it's weird to think of it that way. of like, and then now every kid has their own little mark on this table, and I do never want to get rid of this table. So it just makes me think of that, about these life moments that you just cherish so much. So I honestly give this movie a 1.5. I was lost at times, but overall, I'm giving this honestly 1.5 store. So
Nice.
Jeremiah.
This is hands down the craziest science fiction pulp culture of a movie that you will ever see. And it's a fucking experience when you think about that, yo. I believe this movie will be that film that will inspire the next generation of filmmakers. And it gives one hope on that part right there, man. I have to say, this is probably one of the best visual films I've seen in a long time. And I think the actors give some of the best performance that you will see in a very, very long time, especially Huy Quan. I mean, he elevated this fucking movie to another life, and I love that part of this film, man. There is some issues with the film, guys. I mean, I think sometimes it tries to be really weird and different at times, which it doesn't feel really organic, you know? But however, the best part of the film is the root of the story about family and love. And I fucking really kind of like I took that in so much. I've been a dreamer like almost all my life, dude. Like I always was thinking about, you know, the hopes and the accomplishments that you want, the fantasy, but it just made me realize the dream is like, it's living, you know, in the here and the now. And the dream is like always been right in front of us. And that part of the movie speaks to my heart in so much. So this is a 1, man. I was really surprised. It's not the best movie. But I'm not surprised that it won a lot of Oscars this year, man. So that's where I'm coming from.
Love it.
Who would like to go next?
I'll take it. So, I screwed up in a sense that I watched this movie at the same exact time that I was watching 9 other movies, trying to, you know, in my opinion, say what is the best picture. And I love doing this every year. But what the problem is that I was looking at it from a way more, I don't say critical lens, because I think that's what we should be doing, or what I should be doing, but from a different lens than I should have. Instead of me looking at it from, you know, metaphorically and what is this real purpose and what is the movie really trying to say, I was looking at it from, you know, is this traditional in you know, best picture winner kind of tradition? And I came out of the movie, I was super disappointed. I was like, oh, this is not good. It was too fucked up. It was too weird. It was too wild. You know, the rocks, we're talking about rocks. My thing was, the editing's amazing. How the fuck do you come up with a concept like this, right? Those were the 2 thoughts that I had. And I realized over the last hour with you guys that this is a movie that begs to be talked about, right? Amanda, she
yes,
bailed out. She fell asleep halfway through the movie because she doesn't like anything that caused her to think. And I was kind of left alone by myself, and I love you, babe. But I was left alone to watch this movie and try to figure it out, and at the same time come to zero conclusions. And over the last hour, you guys took a movie that I didn't like. I'm going to straight up say I didn't like, and you made me go, fuck, I can't wait to watch this again and see it through the lens that you guys have kind of opened up for me. I just want to kind of give some shout outs to Michelle Yeoh. I have loved Michelle Yeoh since I saw her in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, which, if you haven't seen that, that's an OG fucking amazing movie. Yeah,
there was a callback to that too in this. movie.
absolutely. And I love Crouching Tiger. I think that's a fantastic movie. But I've loved her since I saw that. I didn't know Quan is was all the way back from Short Round. I didn't realize that, and so to see that after the fact and realize it, man, it's fucking amazing. It might sound petty, but one of my biggest complaints, one of my hugest complaints about this movie, even after talking about it, is Jamie Lee Curtis. I don't like her in this role. And Hot Dog Fingers, I know that we appreciate that. To me, that was just like, okay, pushing it too far.
You probably just don't like her from like Halloween, though. So
no, I like that.
That's what it sounds like. Yeah, that's what it sounds
True
like.
Lies. I love that movie.
True Lies is such a good
True
movie.
Lies is a great movie. Anyway, I'm gonna cut to the chase right now. You guys showed why some movies need to be talked about. Why you need to. I don't care if it's friends or if it's a podcast to just hear about it. But and for that, you guys took a movie that was probably close to the 4s for me, and you guys have dropped it down into the 1s.
Wow.
And I'm gonna go with Ed. I think that you're right. It's a 1.5, and this is literally taking it from a 4 to 1.5. So congratulations on the biggest jump in, I think, 3.5 Gentlemen history. So 1.5 for me.
That is the biggest jump right there.
It is 100% in my head. Anyway, Sean, you go for it.
Wow. So I approach this kind of different. We've come off of Parasite, which I did not like at all.
Shocking.
And that was Best Picture a couple of years ago
That was a
or
good
last
movie.
year.
That's a great movie.
And this everything all at once. I don't even know the name of the damn movie. This is the type of movie.
Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Everything Everywhere All at
gotta
Once is the type of movie that should win Best Picture. It is innovative. It is brilliantly acted. It has got amazing cinematography. It's got great music. It is a thoughtful, emotional experience of a movie that you just don't get every day. This is a 1 in a million shot. And the fact that it came from the Daniels is not that surprising. I remember seeing the trailer for Swiss Army Man, really enjoying that, but I'll sit down and watch the movie.
Please watch it.
It is so nice to see great actors get rewarded with great parts and great performances. Michelle Yeoh has been fighting for a long time. I remember her, you guys say Crouching Tiger. I remember her from James Bond, from Tomorrow Never Dies. That was kind of my first introduction to her. And I wanted her to be a female James Bond. I thought she would have been fantastic. The combination of perfections that happen in this movie, the five elements of a movie. On top of that, it was completely entertaining. On top of that, it was completely enthralling. That this is going to be a masterclass in film. I think this will become this will become a pinnacle to which all other quasi sci-fi horror movies will be judged against, because it threaded that needle so beautifully, and the message was fucking perfection. I look at The Matrix, which I think was totally innovative. This, to me, has so many elements of The Matrix, except for they did it right. This is a 0.5 for me.
Ooh, look at you.
I really, really, really enjoyed this movie. I watched it today, but I haven't stopped thinking about it. And it's to me, it's the Capra, It's a Wonderful Life of 2023, and it will replace that movie as kind of what could have been, what if.
Love it.
For even Steven Spielberg to go and say, wow, I took some pointers from the Daniels of how to develop characters in, writing and everything like that. That speaks so much right there, man.
Do you think this
next
movie,
generation?
Do you think this movie should make the AFI top 100 long term?
I wouldn't be surprised from 10 years to 20 years from now.
Yeah.
It does.
Give it 10
for what
years.
it does.
Give it 10 years. Give
Yeah.
it 10
I'd
years.
agree. Yeah.
Because I think Crouching Tiger should be up there too. As I remember, that one was just magnificent. So,
Yeah.
All right. When we combine the scores and divide by 4, what does Everything Everywhere All at Once get an average rating of?
It gives us a 1.125.
And Jeremiah,
1.125.
Jeremiah, where does that put us on the list of films that we have reviewed?
It is actually now 16th in our catalog, actually.
And so, what is better than Everything? God dang it!
You got it.
Everything Everywhere.
Everything
at Once.
Everywhere All at Once.
You're going to like this. Jaws is better than this.
Okay, what's below it?
The Good and the Bad and the Ugly,
Okay.
Alien,
Okay.
American Graffiti, and Glorious Bastards.
Point Break
yeah.
is
I agree with
also
all of
worse
that.
than this. Yes.
I mean,
That's,
this movie had
it's a
Brian
little bit
Cox.
lower on the list. Just a
Yeah,
little
it's
bit lower.
If Brian Cox was in here, I'd be shooting for a negative.
And honestly, I guarantee you, if 5 years from now, I guarantee you the score would be a lot different. I'm just saying, because I think that it's the new generation of filmmaking. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that that's what we're seeing here now.
Yeah, I agree. This is one of those
It's
movies
exciting.
you have to watch this movie again. There's so much that happened.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much that happened in this movie.
It's kind of a half movie, though, Jeremiah, in some ways, because it's almost like it pushes all the boundaries, but it doesn't push it. Like, I remember when have you ever seen THX, the original THX?
Oh yeah, 1138.
Long time ago,
Okay.
bro.
But when you
Long
watch
time
that
ago, yeah.
movie, it was totally innovative, right? It pushed
Yeah.
all the boundaries. The Daniels knew where all the walls were, and they went, all right, I'm going to back off just a little bit and give us something that everyone can kind of enjoy, all at once. All right, if you enjoyed our review or a fan of the podcast, we ask you please subscribe wherever you're listening. Give us a 5-star review on iTunes. You can also find us on Instagram at the.gentlemanpodcast. The dot means a lot. You can visit our website, thegentlemanpodcast.com. If you want to reach out to us, you can do so by email at hosts with an S, HOSTS, at thegentlemanpodcast.com. Thank you all for listening. What do we have, Jeremiah? What do we have next week?
Well, next week we have our movie that we're going to be doing, Parasite. You
Oh,
heard about
sorry.
it.
Oh.
That's going to be coming out next week. But going on that, we're going to be doing our hero categories. So we're going to have a little Hook. We're going to have some Brandon Fraser. We're going to have some Heath Ledger. It's going to be an interesting month, guys.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for
I'm good
listening.
with that.
What movie? What movie did I have?
I know. And we'll see you next week, gentlemen. Thank you.
The one that he
fucking
mentioned
movies.
is the one that you have.
Later, guys. Cheers. It's the one you fucking selected.
Yeah, he only said
Which
one
one?
movie. Hook.
In the multiverse, you selected this one.
And I like the mummy.